This is quite literally a shambling mound. Since I've been making my project, I'm actually getting nervous standing beside it because it might jump up and eat me. Look at all those gnarly bits of wood entangled in there. Hello! Jump up and eat me. Hey guys, welcome back to Not One Videos. Today we are delving into the D&D monster manual and taking a look at an awesome monster, the Shambling Mound. This Sunday just passed on the Crazy Crafter live stream. DM Scotty from the DM's Craft was our featured guest, and we had an awesome time getting stuck into our own variations on how to build the Shambling Mound. You can still catch up on this episode on the Crazy Crafter channel. Scotty was an awesome guest and we had lots of laughs. I decided to film my process during the stream just in case it turned out to be any good. I wanted to start by having a nice base for the creature, so I used some PIR Foam. I have recently really enjoyed using a bristle brush to carve these really nice rock textures into the foam. When it gets painted, this base will look awesome. So this is my first time ever sculpting as opposed to carving or sticking things together. I had some das clay and I thought that this was a perfect opportunity to use it on a project that didn't necessarily require a perfect finish. I've been wanting to get into sculpting for a while now, and I've spent quite a bit of time researching methods, etc. And one common factor is building an armature of the rough shape of your sculpture and then applying the clay on top. So I used some strong wire, tinfoil and some aluminium mesh to crudely throw together a shape that I like. I wanted my shambling mound to be leaping into action as if you had just stumbled upon it in your campaign, disturbed it, and it bursts forth to annihilate you, kind of thing. Once I had a rough shape of my monster, I just started to smooth on the das clay, working into all the nooks and crannies of the armature and making sure to blend the surface as I went along. At this stage, my sculpture was starting to look more like Kermit the Frog than a shambling mound, but I had an idea in mind and was pretty sure that I could just keep adding to the project and it would eventually get there. So, if you don't play D&D, you might be asking exactly what is a shambling mound. Well, basically, this is a shambling mound. According to the Monster Manual, a shambling mound, sometimes called a shambler, trudges ponderously through bleak swamps, dismal marshes and rainforests, consuming any organic matter in its path, including you. This rotting heap of animated vegetation looms up half again as tall as a human, tapering into a faceless head at its top. Its armor class is 15, it has hit points of 136, a meandering speed of 20 feet per turn during initiative, but it makes up for that in its strength and constitution. If you encounter this thing, it is going to try and kill you, and it will do so by basically grappling you, slamming you, and pulverizing you to death. So yeah, this is an awesome monster for any DM to throw at their players in a game. Anyway. Okay, so the Crazy Crafter live stream is just finished about half an hour ago, and I've been leaving this thing to dry. It's not dry yet, but I want to carry on crafting here this evening. So I've got a pretty decent looking creature to go ahead and start dressing up. This video is not so much a tutorial as it is a recording of the process, but here you can see that I am just using PVA glue to cover the base so I can add loose bark chippings for small boulders and rocky textures. So I particularly like this artistic rendition of the Shambling Mound because of the tusks, so I decided to pinch the idea and include it in my project, and I think it looks totally badass. For the teeth, again, I used das clay. I've never really worked with this stuff before, and I didn't realise it would be quite tricky to glue it in with hot glue. Basically, it doesn't hold very well. I tried a few times and they just weren't holding strongly, so I just used the hot glue to give them the initial hold in place. I then used super glue in and around the teeth and added some baking powder to it. So this sets rock hard and it worked perfectly, holding the teeth really strongly in place. Then it was time to seal the whole project. As usual, I went with a blackboard paint and Mod Podge mix. Once dried, it will be a great surface, not just for painting, but also for gluing all sorts of flora and fauna onto. And it also has added bonus of giving extra bit of stability in securing the sculpture to the base. So this shambling mound is supposed to look all gnarly with vines and all sorts of plant life growing out of it. For my vines, I decided to use some thick string that I separated from its three main strands so that the vine would look more twisted and natural, and I just threaded it in around the model and hot glued it into place. When painted up with a bit of Mod Podge and black paint, the paint absorbs into the string and this will end up looking like a pretty convincing vine. I then wanted to try something new that I haven't done before, and that was using wire wool for vegetation. Specifically, I wanted to use it with a swampy algae moss kind of thing. You can see in this picture what I mean, and I just hot glued that in and around the project where it made sense. I then added a twig just to have a dead tree sticking out of the back of this thing. I also added some more bark to the back of the creature. I wanted it to look like just before it sprang into life and attacked, it was happily asleep amongst the boulders, etc. These little fronds that I'm adding are from the garden, and I wish I knew what the plant was called, but I don't. I just dried them out on the radiator for several days, and they are pretty sturdy, especially when painted. I also added some moss in and around the back side of the creature. This moss again has been dried and will hold up totally fine when painted with black paint and Mod Podge. And of course this creature has attacked and killed other beasts, so I had to have some dead things in it, and that's where Citadel skulls once again show their awesome value. Obviously I had to paint all of this foliage black to seal it, so I just gave the whole project another quick coat of black Mod Podge. For the stone colours in the base, as always, I started with some graphite grey, but then I veered off course from where I normally go. I've been wanting to experiment a bit more with my colours when it comes to rocks and stonework, and recently I was given this blue-grey paint, so I was excited to give it a shot, and straight away I was liking the tones coming out. I kind of did a dry brushing with this, but not too dry. I then followed it up with this green-grey, again a gift from the same awesome individual, and dry brushed it all over the stonework. It was kind of like a highlight sort of thing. When it came to painting the earthy tones, I wish I could tell you that I followed a particular order and that you could follow that, but I didn't. I basically started with darker colours and worked my way up to the lighter colours, and I moved back and forth between these, changing up the order in certain areas in whatever way that suited me really. The paints I used were raw umber, burnt umber, a mix of cadmium yellow and cobalt blue to get the selection of different greens that I used, and also some lime green. In a project like this, it really is up to you how you go about this stage. What do you like? Does it need to be darker? Does it need to be lighter? Does it need more green or brown? Trust your own judgment and make something that looks good to you. I did add some glossy varnish in certain areas like under the creature just to make it look like it had been wet underneath it, and also in around some of the algae and moss areas. I also added a touch of burnt umber to some titanium white to kind of get a skull-like colour, and I just dry brushed that onto my skulls. For the teeth, I added a little bit of yellow ochre into that same mix because I wanted the teeth to look a bit yellow and gnarly and old and disgusting, and yeah, I just painted up the tusks and the teeth with that. And then we were on to the final stage of the project, and that is flocking. As usual, I coated all the areas I wanted to flock with PVA glue and sprinkled some different coloured flocks all over the project. I really wanted to use that static grass applicator that I had been given last week, but I had no batteries and I was working late into the night to complete the project, and yeah, basically I couldn't get it done. But I'm really looking forward to using that thing in a project coming soon. And the very last detail of the whole project was a dark brown wash over all of the stonework, and that is it finished. So there you go guys, my finished Shambling Mound. Very happy with this project. Really enjoyed building it as well, and it was super fun to do it on the Crazy Crafter live stream. If you don't know about the Crazy Crafter live stream, check it out. I've got the link in the description below every Sunday, and it's a really good time. Also, I just want to thank all my patrons as usual. They're on the screen right now. You guys are really helping support this channel, and I really appreciate it. And also I just want to do a quick shout out to Lee Zhao, who did me some cool artwork, and I've basically changed the look of my channel. And because I changed the look of my channel, I felt like I needed a bit of an upgrade too, so I had a haircut. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I just want to say as well, please click the bell. I'm getting lots of subscribers, and I'm pretty sure that some of them are not seeing new videos. YouTube doesn't necessarily let you know. So if you want to see more content, please click the bell, like, make a comment, all of the usual stuff. Alright, thanks guys. See you next week. Bye. If you would like to have a go at making this project yourself, there are links to all the materials I used in the description below this video. Thanks. Bye.